Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 412th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, December 23rd, 2021. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation, Spaceship Institute, and Education Department, and part of the Public Teachings in English. And my name is Rick Crammond. I'll be a host today. And as usual, in these weekly Knowledge Seekers workshops, we have Mr. Mehran Keshe of the Keshe Foundation to present today's teaching and knowledge. Hello, Mr. Keshe. Are you ready to start today's teaching?
Yes. Good morning, good day to you. As usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of Knowledge Seekers of Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, that we enter understanding of the totality. This week, we have a number of celebrations to celebrate. First, on Tuesday, the birthday of Mitra, where all the religions then change names and try to work around it, but in essence, branches of the branches, but the totality stays Mitra. It's in a way the light of the Creator, the light of the soul of the Creator. Is not to be arrogant, but is to understand and to be respectful of the truth and the way the things are set with us. And we celebrate in the next couple of days what we call Christmas and the birthday of Christ. In a way, replication of the same with a few day difference, that it doesn't fall on the same date, that there is a confusion and replication. Once you read about Mitra on Tuesday, and then you read about Christ on Saturday, you see it's the same story. You see replication. You see confirmation of existence. In a way, as I said, in the One Planet, One Nation, One Race on Tuesday, as we stay totally out of the programs of the Universal Council as they're independent, and we do not interfere, but just to be there to explain the purpose of what, or to understanding of what we call the birthday of Mitra. It's the birthday of the soul of the man, of the understanding. Is the end of a darkest time on the human life cycle where man was just an animal, behaved like the others. And through understanding of the Creator, he was taken out of the long nights of darkness in knowledge and understanding. Then we went through another cycle of darkness mode. We understood about there is a Creator. We start worshiping in different ways and names. Now all promised the promised day, when the Messiah comes, when the Mahdi comes, when everything else comes, and this planet and the world will be what we call pot of honey. But in fact, this long term from the manifestation of Mitra to last Tuesday, which is the return of Mitra. That's why we celebrated it. That's why this year was significant. And we'll see the change in the cycle of man. The promised one, the promised day has arrived. And we were waiting for it in a way for the soul of the man to mature, that the thousands of years waiting in the darkness has come to an end. It's the beginning, it's a new cycle, understanding the soul of the man. You understood there is a Creator. Now, the man will be taught that the Creator is within him, within the soul of the man. Many of you expected manifestation of physicality. That has to be understood is partially you. You are manifested in the dimension of the love of the Creator. It's you who has to understand the change. In a way, what we call it, the promised day, Ruzat Qiyamah, or whatever, has completed its cycle. It's for man to be enlightened. It's for man to understand the change. And with it, in this cycle, man will enter the universal community because it's part of the life of the universal community. Mitra came from the universe. And in the dimension of the light, even when we look at Mitra in the carvings and whatever, we always see her as a light. We always see him as a light. In different cultures and ways, mankind has taken different ways of confirming the existence of the higher order, stronger than man can be protected by. Of the lights of what it comes from the essence of the creation. In a coming time, as we start teaching in institutes and other dimensions of the what we call Keshe Foundation KFSSI, we'll go into the deeper, not into theology, but to bring the reality psychosomatic of the life together. Psycho to be the theology, somatic will be the man in a physical dimension that he creates, crafts, or whatever he decides to travel in. We take man out of the life of a schizophrenic that lives two lives, one physicality and one the soul, where the two work together, where we take the position of the brain out as the interfering side, and we bring it to the point that they can communicate direct, to understand and interact. In totality, man will realize, unless he creates continuous condition of the planet Earth in anywhere in the universe, he will have that dimension of the brain to have the emotion of physicality. But man will learn in the coming time that he can live without the dimension of physicality of the brain of the man, to have a direct emotion between the physicality, the soul of physicality, and the soul of the man. The brain of the man is made of carbon, hydrogen, and simple elements, and in the depth of a space will dissolve. In the depth of a space will not exist on the planets or in a position in the universe where hydrogen cannot exist because of the strength of the fields. What happens to the amino acid of the man? Does it become the point of demise of the man? Or through the soul of physicality and the soul of the man in working together and being synchronized in understanding the totality, man will survive as an entity. In totality, becomes very much like the sun and the earth. We don't see a brain in between, but we see the love, the affection, the way the sun looks after his little kindred just sitting in far distance, but it shines the same on all. Mankind has to understand that the time of maturity of the man has come. Mankind has got to understand the time of the peace, what we call the honey, has come, but it's the man who has chosen the path. Mitra is amongst us, in soul, in a dimension of understanding, and in physicality, recognizing the existence of the dimension of the transformation of fields to the strength of the time and position to manifest itself as a matter state or point of observation. It could be as a fields, it could be as a wave of a magnetic fields, or it could be a physical dimension of the stone, the man, the tree, or an animal, or any other creature in the universe. We will have a big problem with the present theologies and the present line of thinking that is being created under the name of different religions. We have abolished the religion by our own understanding of the truth. We abolish it within our brain by recognizing the truth about ourselves, our existence, our lives. Mankind has entered a phase of change. As of last Tuesday, you will see massive changes. We promised, we delivered, and we delivered the rest of it in the coming time. The responsibility of the transition sits on the shoulder of the Universal Council and no one else, as the Universal Council, in cooperation with the Universal Earth Council, will do or bring the position of the understanding of the man together. You will see massive changes in the whole structure of the Keshe Foundation and in the background with the whole way that we teach, we deliver, and we do. We have started bringing the space as part of the collaboration of the nations. As we said in the Tuesday teaching, Keshe Foundation, in response to the success with 5+1 in Vienna, The way Keshe Foundation interfered the Monday before to get the outcome of the Friday in the background, as we always done with the American administration, we have seen a leaping forward, and we respond to it accordingly. We said we will not transfer anything to the United States unless we see the end of what we call sanctions, not just for Iran, but on the knowledge. And to this respect, and to this response, Keshe Foundation has announced, and we carry out in the next few weeks, the first flight enhancement unit will be delivered directly into Arizona, directly into Tehran, and directly into our facilities in Austria. The three groups will work together at the same time to develop the systems, test, and flight. We have invited the head of NASA Propulsion Lab to join us in conjunction with Lockheed Martin and Boeing International on the flight system. We have put the hand of friendship to the Chinese government, and the invitation for them to join will go out in the first week of January. We invite the rest of you, if you are scientists of space, not just nanocoating and gases, to join this development. You choose, we decide. If you are qualified to understand the process, that it can speed our process up, to join us in Arizona, in Austria, or in Tehran. It is important for us to rapidly bring everything to an end before somewhere around March, that we do enough tests, that we are ready for June to take flight. You got to realize when mankind works together, it's very successful. We do not look at the borders and nations anymore. As we have said, we see success in negotiations in Vienna, we respond. On a Monday of last week, we delivered a massive punch to the whole structure of the Atomic Energy Authorities with the delivery of documents which opened the hand of nations how what we call misunderstood about Iran nuclear technology, and how Keshe Foundation's knowledge and technology and equipment was used to create mayhem of nuclear weapon. This came very rapid and was shared by to the Americans and the other 5+1 by IEA. The head of IEA, Mr. Grossi, immediately shared the document delivered. And we saw a rapid change of position because the sanctions were on the false basis. We do the same, we've done the same. As I said, we have become 5+3, and we showed our power in delivering the truth to IAEA, and IAEA respectively sharing it with those who created the sanction on false basis. This is thanks to many of you working with the Keshe Foundation and putting and collecting and bringing a lot of knowledge together that we could deliver such a punch. Within 5 days, we got the response where there was no hope and everybody returned not to come back or to come back with failure. Now, 5+1 will come together around 26 to find a final position. And in that time, and in the next few months, Keshe Foundation, by delivering the whole position of the space travel in collaboration with a number of nations and space agencies, we will bring an end to all sanctions as the man will be hungry for more knowledge and what has been discovered. Keshe Foundation stays independent of any nation, and we operate independently. If you are expert, you understand the work of the gravitational fields, and you're in a space technology aircraft industry, we welcome you to join us, as we've done with NASA. As I wrote to NASA head of propulsion, the time of propulsion is over. Bring your team, work with John in Arizona, bring your heads of the Lockheed Martin and Boeing, which work in the background, the black budget, and we work together with a clean white budget. We finance it. And we are sure we get the same collaboration from other nations. Still, European nations outside the state of Austria will stay outside the framework of the Keshe Foundation space work. It's got to be understood, we are setting a new criteria. We are building a new nation as one nation, and we have to be correct in every aspect of our work. I invite you, knowledge seekers, who are thoroughly understand and understood the process of the creation of the fields for motion, life, and in a way to be able to deliver the technology in conjunction with the other scientists around the world to join us. We have made it easy. Arizona, Austria, or Tehran. We deliberately have kept China out of the testing as we produce our systems in China. And in coming time, the Chinese scientists will receive their own unit. We have invited the Russian Space Agency to join us. We have invited the Iranian Space Agency to join us. But you got to understand, we stay independent. And they need to come in, not for us to stand and wait for someone to come. The delivery of the technology will be rapid. John has been made aware of it and is making Arizona Center ready to receive the first enhancement unit for flight. And thereon, every week, one unit will be added to the stockpile of the systems in Arizona. Somewhere by March, we hope the whole 12 systems of enhancement units as a body and the 2 flight system, which is set up to go to Arizona, will be there to be completed, to be tested. The same will be in Tehran. It's responsibility to the Iranian government to foresee and accommodate such a transition. We see an end of every problem which man created for himself through creating false borders. We create position on Earth from this planet and such a place called Iran, but we have no borders. We live and we cross. We live the way we did for centuries without any borders. Who made it to control taxes? In the system of Keshe Foundation, what we call universal work, there are no taxes. Soon man will come to understand this work. And soon man will see this work. We have already made an announcement to this effect in where the Keshe Foundation is a majority shareholder in one of the world stock exchange markets that will abolish and we change the whole position of the what we call stockhold market shares, where the same as what we've done with the coin, we keep the value of a life the same, does not matter where you are. And we take stipulation and speculation out of the whole market. You will see this way of working very soon in where Keshe Foundation will appear in the stock markets of US, London, or Frankfurt, Tehran, and Beijing. And in that process, we will show a new way and bring a new direction into this system. You got to realize the elevation of the soul to understand the dimension of physicality needs a leg up, hand to get that leg up that it can move to the next step. And that leg up will come in the form of what we call the flight system. By being able to fly across this planet and not to be detected and not to be able to be controlled, the governments will lay out a new way of what we call facilitating their income. By being able to deliver systems that man needs no food, food cannot be taken as a point of ransom, that they can control government through food chain. When we can deliver the systems of the enhancement units, that when you have crisis as we see today, some do not need to wait for the charity from the others that they might save some lives. It has to be universal. It's the responsibility of every knowledge seeker to make sure my knowledge, the ethos of the Creator, stays free for every man on this planet and beyond. Means it's your responsibility to teach, it's your responsibility to share, it's your responsibility to save life in any position in the universe, and not only for man, irrespective of anything else. Mankind will soon come to understand, and it'll be the biggest shock to man. They'll be given gifts of life in a space, and no one will ask for dollars or euros, and no one will ask you to give me something instead. This will bring a shock to many of the men in the space, even to the soul of the man, as he's learning the new ways in the dimension of the creation of the physicality and soul of physicality being all interactive. We celebrate the birth of Mitra. We celebrate the return of Messiah. We celebrate the return of Mehdi. What was that celebration? Involved the essence of the maturity of the man. And in that process, man has matured. We have taught enough to be there. As we said before, and we'll say again, very soon, sooner than man can remember, man will not remember a name for any religion and will shy away from it, as they'll remember that in the name of the religion, they created division between the creator and the created, and they abused the man. There shall be no religions left except in the books, and soon one of the first ones will be forgotten forever due to atrocities and what I call crimes they have committed in the name of Moses. It has to be understood. There is no punishment, but man will come to mature not to remember the bad part of the life, the bad part which he has learned from and never go back to. As we said, as we heard, world leaders gradually are becoming matured, and they need that last leg up to understand the time has come. I thank especially John, and the same for our team headed by Yusuf in Tehran. At the same time, by Dr. Klaas in Austria, and by Wang Lin and her team in China, that it has made possible to create the independence and the foundation for one nation. You will soon understand where the difference will come, where there are no borders, where no man will be recognized by color of a book or a card, where everything will become free, especially in the nations which are abused, will concentrate more. We endeavor to establish massive structures in Africa, South America, and Central Asia. The rich nations of the West, by stealing, have become rich in the dimension of what we call wealth by stealing. But the true culture and wealth has stayed with those nations who they kept in poverty, and they made them to become closer to their creator, as through pain they understood the truth about creation. Maybe it's time for one to mature the other, but maybe it's time for man to mature together. I have celebrated the birth of Mitra, and as part of it, we celebrated with many of your souls, knowingly or unknowingly. A new dimension has started. A new life cycle for humanity has started. And every one of you are a cell in that embodiment of creation and creator. It's for you to decide what this cell, what role it will play, and how it will interact. You will see change in the structures of your own understanding, and in a way you evolve to understand more. Today's teaching is celebration of life of Mitra. In a way, change the name in another language and call it Christ. In a name, change the soul of it and call it the teaching of Muhammad or Buddha. In no way any of the what we call created path of belief told the humanity the truth about the creator and the enlightenment from his light. And this is the completion of it as of this week, as the 21st of December, 2021, brought the beginning of what we were expecting. There will be another resolution and completion on a number which in the future mankind will come to understand, which is known in the calendar of Christianity by all tools. Mankind will come to understand the totality of exactly where man will sit, where the totality will be on what we know and what we will call the point of change. Man has 200 years to achieve it. Man has this time to be able to complete the full cycle. This will become apparent in the time will come. We'll bring it up and we teach about it. On 2022, on the 2nd of the 22nd of February, man will be enlightened to a new knowledge. That's the next cycle of understanding. This time we don't wait for centuries and thousands of years, but in a way we build the time to that completion. To entering another cycle is not a promised time, it's understanding more of. But in time, we do these things specifically for a specific arrangement. And we are not prophesizing. We know we are there, we shall be there to deliver more. Mankind will come to understand himself. Mankind will come to celebrate the birth of Mitra, return of the soul of Mitra, beginning of understanding of the man about the truth about himself, and in that way create a new generation and children of man that will live in both dimensions and are fully aware of the two dimension of the soul and the soul of physicality, and presently will live between the two. They understand the emotion of the soul as much as they understand the emotion of the physicality. In all that time, will be present to guide mankind through this journey. Today is a beautiful day where we sit on either side of both the Christmas and the birth of Mitra on the balanced day. And at the same time, mankind will come to understand the whole knowledge of universe is at the disposal of the man. It's man who has got to reach it out, to achieve it, to learn it, and to be part of it, and to recognize learning it is one stroke of understanding and completion. As we said, and we'll say, we wish you a Happy New Year and a Merry Christmas. And we wish you one of the best birthdays ever, of the birth of Mitra, where everything has started from, and all shall end with it in that point where the end is maturity of understanding, not end of the world or end of anything. It's the end for the man alone and nobody else. As I always said, you cannot pay someone to love you. You cannot pay someone to trust you. And you cannot pay no one to mature you except yourself, to understand mature, to understand of totality. My job as a messenger has been to deliver the truth from man to understand the message and no more. We take our position as universal messengers to deliver directly, and against all odds will survive as we are from the Creator and not from the man. We live amongst man the way man does, but man confuses his understanding of the position of time. We see the end of Islam as a religion, but as a path of correct conduct, the true writing in Quran. We see the end of Christianity as we have wished for, as now the truth is known about Christ and the way it was said. We have already abolished the Judaism. And the same goes for Buddhists and the rest. Different paths of belief now become one, and we all return back to the mother, to Mitra, the origin, the what we call the truth, the first time man realized about his Creator, where it came from the light and through the light. And I hope, and my wish is, man matures faster, because it's one of the slowest animals I've ever known to learn anything. But somehow it's the function of the brain is too greasy and too sticky, and it sticks to too many things called emotion. One day, mankind might become wise to understand he always has the wisdom It's him who ignored himself to the knowledge. He denied access to it because it was easier to enjoy the dimension of physicality. We wish you one of the best years man has ever seen in 2022. And at the same time, you will understand that it's the time for mankind to mature to the truth and the peace. And we lay our ways, and we will bring everything possible to create that condition for you to be enlightened, be it with the machines, be it by creating conditions, being by bringing other souls within the Keshe Foundation understanding of the teaching to bring the totality together. I thank you for being here today, as it's Christmas and the birthday of Mitra, return of Messiah, return of the totality, where the Messiah is your soul. Where is understanding and maturity of your soul to save yourself in understanding that the truth sits within the Creator and nowhere else. And that Creator is reflected to the soul of the man. Enjoy, those of you who believe in the path of Christ, the next few days as you celebrate his birthday, and celebrate, and we return back to celebrate the birth of Mitra. You've got to realize that in olden days, when man who believed or began to believe in path of Mitra celebrated these days for 12 days. The most important religious festival, the most important festival for man across this planet was 21st of December, birth of Mitra, when in fact was when the man was enlightened to understand about the Creator. And in time, this was changed, and man with different religions decided to, in a way, to diminish the truth about Mitra. But we have resurrected Mitra to the truth of what it is, and shall wake up. Mitra is a symbol of justice. Mitra is a symbol of light. Mitra is the symbol of wisdom and understanding. And this is for a man to find all three. And maybe one day soon, we will all be enlightened to the truth understanding of the light of the Creator. Mankind will find a new dimension. And today is that day. We have entered it. We are in the second day of the what we call the change. We have entered the third day. And in the coming days, man will be enlightened beyond. We see no more wars. Even those who create the rhetoric for it will try their best. We see the end of hunger. And that is the responsibility of the knowledge seekers to deliver the technologies which makes food not a necessity, but the right to be given through the fields of this universe. And at the same time, we see the end of many, many hardships for mankind, as by abolishing what we call monetary system, man will come to respect his own time and position according to his effort he puts to serve his fellow man. Mankind is ready for the change, and we have made it ready. And we call upon the world nations and the leaders to lay down the arms and start the path of peace, or we'll make it for you to happen. The way we brought it through plasma energy pack that no one can move, everybody talks but has no teeth to do anything. And the next step is we create a condition that the governments will feed their citizens freely without what we call incarcerating them in the condition of what we call taxes. We'll see the end of this process, which was a way to create mayhem for man, where man will serve what we call humanity and what we call the lives freely, as they have everything they need. We celebrate the birth of Mitra this week, and by the old tradition, till 12 days after, which more or less falls just about around 1st of January, 2nd of January, which was the back end of the celebration of the birth of Mitra. This is how the birth of Christ was chosen. Beginning was Mitra, and the last day was Christ. Now we understand more and more how it came to be and how it came to be celebrated and how it was positioned. Maybe one day mankind will come to understand more of. One day mankind will come to understand when the true histories and the books of the history of man and the memory of those who've been there will explain more and create more. Maybe one day mankind will read the history of the man through the soul of the man, and many ambiguities and the lies which were told to the man will come to light. And we shall say, we love you and we adore you and we worship you as a soul. It's your job to find the strength of it, the dimension of it, and the beauty of it. Thank you for being here today as we celebrate the birth and return of Mitra amongst us in all dimensions and shapes and forms. Maybe those of you who are enlightened will receive the light of Mitra and be enlightened with a new way of living. And those of you who are still in the path of ignorance, wait for the day of Qiyamah, the day of judgment, as you have not judged yourself, and you wait for somebody and you don't see yourself to be capable to understand the truth, the soon will change, be enlightened all the same to understand the totality. Thank you very much for being here today and celebrate not the Christmas and the birth of Christ, but celebrate the mother of all creation, Mitra, and her birth and the generation of the new life, which is shine on man, amongst man, and through man. Thank you very much for today. And we go through a break, and today we make it a short day as we celebrate in a long way and in understanding the truth about the light of the Creator, Mitra. Thank you very much, Rick. If you want to go to a small commercial break, and we come back and we close early.
Okay, very good, Mr. Kesh. I'll play the Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit video here so that people can get the word description of it. And then we'll do the Christmas bundle and we'll come back. Okay, thanks everyone.